Hey everyone, Tony D with another hot take, and this one is on the FISA court. The big news today is the IG report that basically confirms what most of us who follow this stuff already know, is that the FISA court was lied to with regard to the FBI coming in and explaining the Steele dossier and other things related to Carter Page and things like that. Oh, and also that Carter Page was a CIA asset, and that they never revealed that to the court as well. So this is what you get when you have secret courts. You get this kind of nonsense because why not? The court's secret. 99.999% of the time, it just rubber stamps whatever the government wants to do, and they just go ahead and surveil people, arrest people, accumulate evidence. See, I think it goes something like this. Being in law enforcement or the judiciary is very boring, right? It's a very boring job. Most people who run through the judiciary or law enforcement are criminals, and they're almost always criminals. Oop, here's Doggy. Hello. And because of that, they get very lazy, So imagine you're a cop in a small town, and there's like 2 or 3 families that cause all the trouble, right? They live in the poorest section of town. Some of them sell drugs. Some of them are drug addicts. They cause like 90% of the trouble in your town. You are constantly at the house of these 2 families. You're constantly arresting them. They go in and out of jail all the time. They cause nothing but trouble for everyone around them, including you as a cop. So it gets to the point where you just keep going back to that house. Whenever something happens, you just go right to the house, or you immediately check on those 2 families because there's a stolen car. It's probably in the backyard of one of these idiots. or if someone's missing a dog, then it's probably one of these morons who stole it. And 9 times out of 10, you're proven absolutely 100% right. The problem is then one day, somebody commits a crime from out of town. But it's the exact kind of crime that the idiots normally commit, and it looks very much like one of them. So without even checking, you go right to one of their houses. In fact, the one that always is dealing drugs or stealing drugs or whatever. It's a drug-related thing. So you go right to him. You go right to him and arrest him. You don't even think about it. You're like, yeah, he protests. He's really laying it on thick, but you're not buying it. He does that every time. And then lo and behold, turns out he's innocent. Now at that point, you have a choice. You can admit you messed up, or you can just put him away on that charge, because after all, he's guilty of something. He's always guilty of something. So, you put him away. It's just another one of the laundry. He's not going to hate you any less. He already hates your guts. So you put him away on that charge. Gets out, right back to his old tricks. Nothing really changes. But then one day, somebody commits a crime. And this time, he's really innocent. This time it's a relative, maybe a cousin of one of these family members, never had a police record in his life. Maybe it's the son of one of these guys. And because you've been dealing with them for 20 years, you put the kid away, and he's totally innocent. You ruin his life. This is why you need police work at all times. This is why it needs to be professional at all times. Because even if 99 times it's the same 2 people, you have to be prepared for that one time when it isn't. That one time where someone is innocent. And I think that's what's happened to our judicial system and the law enforcement community. They've just gotten so lazy. And that laziness has turned into corruption. It just turns into an assembly line of people going in and out of the system. That's why everybody's urged to plead guilty the moment they get in there. That's why there are all these like extra charges that prosecutors dump on defendants, you know? And I think it's no different as you go up the chain to the FISA court. These guys get away with this stuff all the time against, you know, mafia dons and cartel leaders and I'm sure big tax cheats and people like that. And they figured like Donald Trump has kind of that reputation that he's like a totally crooked guy. So there has to be something. He's guilty of something. So who cares if he's not guilty of this particular thing? Just push it forward. We'll find something. And lo and behold, that's mostly rep. You know, whatever the Donald has done, he's gotten away with and covered his tracks if in fact he's done anything. It may be in fact that Trump's reputation is just that. It's just a reputation for being a shady guy that he cultivated in order to stay above the fray in Manhattan real estate. Who knows? The people who are supposed to know are these law enforcement people and judiciary who are supposed to explore these things. They're supposed to actually do their jobs by going step by step, by getting the proper permissions, by getting actual evidence. But they don't do that anymore. They're too busy cutting corners and making political deals. And that's what this whole thing feels like. It feels like the order came down on high. We've got to get this guy. He's going to disrupt our whole hustle. You know? I mean, and these guys, say what you want about Trump, he has shaken the establishment up. And that's a good thing for us. Because that means everybody who had little schemes going behind the scenes in Washington, they have to think twice about doing them. They have to worry. They maybe curtail a little back. They maybe pull back from it, go, oh, let's not do this anymore. We got to go wait till things settle. When you're just doing something illegal or something maybe illegal, you got to worry about that kind of stuff. And so someone who comes in and shakes things up and changes the rules around and moves things around or says, hey, you're not getting the money anymore, that could be a real big problem if you got some sort of scheme going, whether it's legal or not. And I think that's mostly why they hate Trump. It has nothing to do with whether he's good or bad. There's no good or bad in Washington. Everybody's kind of bad. So it depends on where you stand with your own principles, who the bad guy is. At this point, I think it's pretty clear that they did what they could to railroad Trump. And that doesn't make Trump a good guy because he got caught up in this. It makes him sort of a folk hero in that people like to see people who get railroaded come out from under it because so few of us do. You know, most of us couldn't withstand this kind of scrutiny or, you know, things thrown at us. We'd just be thrown right in jail. Nobody would give us. But because Trump has all that money, because he has all that fame, and because he knows how to use it, he's able to get out from under this. And that makes him very appealing, a very appealing character. You want to see people give it to the hypocrites. And anyone who is siding against Trump, knowingly lying about him, knowing that this is all a sham just to get him out of office, you're not the good guys. Because that two wrongs don't make a right. Trump is not Orange Hitler, okay? You may not agree with his policies. You may think his policies are horrible for the country, but at the end of the day, he's not Orange Hitler, okay? You know, I hear people talk about Trump who have TDS, and they are convinced Trump will never leave office willingly. They're convinced of that. I'm like, I don't know what you see that leads you for 1 second to believe that Trump will stay even a day after his second term is up. Trump has a business to run. If anybody wants to get out of this, it's him. You know, if anybody wants to go on to build a fantastic presidential library, it's going to be massive. It's going to be Trump. I hope it has, casino games in it. That'll be amazing. Trump's presidential library with slot machines, and it'll be the most ostentatious thing you can possibly think of. Be all made out of marble with columns and golden statues of Trump, golden toilets. That's what they got to do. In the restrooms of the presidential library for Trump, they have to have golden toilets. Not actual gold, but gold color ones. It'd be so funny to have that. And meanwhile, other people don't bat an eye. These other presidents spend gazillions of dollars on BS that doesn't do the country a one iota of good. I mean, I cannot believe how many people, I don't know if you can see, I got my Impeach Bush shirt on. I cannot believe how many people defend Bush now and compare Trump is way worse than Bush. How? What part of Bush's administration saved the economy and brought it back from the brink? What part of Bush's plan got us out of the Middle East? Bush was the worst president, hands down. He'll be remembered as the worst, I think, at least in this age. It's just terrible stuff that went on. And you don't have the 10th of the reaction from the left, against Bush as you have for the Donald. Yeah, there were some angry people, but not like Trump. With Trump, it's all personal. It's this vicious hatred of him. It's way over the top. It's way over the top. I mean, I hated Bush, but I didn't hate Bush nearly as much as some people just hate Trump. Everything about him they hate. It really shows you the power and influence of media when you talk to some of these people, because they repeat quotes from the media almost word for word when they talk about him. And meanwhile, you've got a revelation like this with the FISA court, which makes it clear a lot of this was trumped up nonsense. And, for them, they're not going to bat an eye. Sad.